Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk about all things reality TV or whatever. I'm your host, Pharaoh, and I'm joined by our wonderful, wonderful co-host, Lee. Lee, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Today's been a really, really good day. This
Mhm.
was not gonna lie, I feel like the episode's kind of mid. I feel like it definitely could have been better. The girls are. It's giving. We're feeling safely in the majority. So we're gonna get into that. But yeah, I don't like this. Like, where's the mess?
Yes, as you see, we are going to be talking to you about Survivor 42, episode 7 or whatever. So basically, the merge has officially started. We started off the episode exiting Lydia's elimination, and then we're going into the official merge. Everyone is merged. Yay! So at the top of the episode, we get the official, you know, say so that there is a 7-person alliance. So
Mm-hmm.
they confirmed that there is a 7-person alliance. This alliance is Drea, Jonathan, Hi,
Well, you might as well
Lindsay.
put the pictures up
The
on
people
screen.
up there? I'll
Yeah.
just put the people up there then. I mean, it's not, I'm still gonna have to name it. Drea, Jonathan, Hi, Lindsay, Mike, Omar, and Rocksroy. That is the 7-person alliance that is in the majority of this tribe. They created this alliance and they are basically deciding that we're gonna stick together, which means on the bottom is Marianne, Romeo, Tori, Chanel. That's the bottom 4. Everybody else is in the set. So we start off this episode and we see that basically the people in the minority, the people who weren't let in on the vote, are mad. So basically, Chanel is talking to Hi, and basically she's like, "Hey, why didn't I know about that vote?" And she's upset at him because she's like, "Why did I know?" And Mike didn't know, and da 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 da. So basically, she knows she's at the bottom, and then we see Romeo talking to Drea, and he basically is asking her the question, like, "Why didn't I know about the vote?" He's also upset that he's a part of the minority, and so basically, what we're seeing is that basically everyone in the minority is aware that they're in the minority, and they basically know that they are in the position where they need to do something about it. And do they do something? I don't know.
And
So,
the thing about it is that,
mhm,
and we're gonna get deeper into it when we get to the ratings, but we're seeing these power players like Drea and High completely just give up their relationships with these people because they are, on the outs, which I think is just so. I don't think that's smart gameplay. And then you'll see the opposite. Omar saying, "I'm keeping my options open. I want a relationship with everyone." Personally,
mhm,
I think that's the way to play a game like this. So
mhm.
that's just, to me, that's concerning.
Yeah. So, you can see that Romeo is very frustrated about this, and so is Chanel. And then we see a conversation between Lindsay and Marianne, and you can kind of tell that with Lindsay and Marianne and all Otaku that they kind of still want to stay together. And we can see this because Marianne is the least, I feel, at danger when it comes to the people who are not in that 7, because you can tell that Taku is still trying to stay together. So I feel like the Lindsay Marianne conversation was the more calm one of the few. But Marianne does have a diary room, and she's like, "See, clearly I'm not in the position that I would like to be in. So that something's going to have to happen about that." So that's how we start off the episode. We have a scene where Mike is talking. And this is interesting because we get a lot of scenes of Mike this episode, which is, might be foreshadowing. And so basically, we have a scene where Mike is talking to Omar, and basically, we see that they have a really good relationship. Omar and Mike are developing a really good relationship, and Omar has a diary room where he's like, "I'm going to want to kind of use Mike. I really do like Mike, and I do think that I can use Mike in the future in this game. So I do want to align with him." So that's probably foreshadowing something in the future. So,
It's interesting seeing Mike's game throughout this episode because I did not think he would, be able to turn it on like this. Like,
mhm,
it's giving Heath in the lap, High, which is kind of
mhm,
interesting because I feel like Drea, who was kind of second in command to Romeo, I feel like at first in the game, then lapped Romeo up. You know what I mean? It's like
mhm.
it's becoming more clear that the people who we thought were just the power players were going to dominate through merge. I don't know. It
I don't
ain't
know.
looking. It ain't looking too hot.
Yeah, it's like it's clearly a difference between being a power player and being a smart player. No offense, but like I feel like some of these power players aren't aren't doing the things that are I feel like the best for their game. Um, but we only get a certain amount from the edit in the episode, but that's what it's looking like. It's looking like they're not doing what they need to do. So we get to the reward challenge. Um, and at the reward challenge, basically they split up into to their two teams. Everyone draws rocks. The rocks come out, and Mary Ann has the gray rock. So Mary Ann has to sit out of the competition. She doesn't really get a reward. But here comes Drea. Drea is like, well, I don't really like peanut butter and jelly, so I can just switch with you, Mary Ann, if you would like. And Mary Ann's like, okay, sure. So they switch. And Drea is now sitting out. Everybody else is going to play on their teams for the reward teams. And so Drea goes to the sit-out bench, and immediately you see Drea
like, no,
sitting down.
You can't tell me. Maybe she really didn't like peanut butter and jelly, but you cannot tell me she did not know it was going to be an advantage because the way she orchestrated her body on that bench, like looking everywhere up under it while sitting down, she literally went head first to sit down.
Literally.
On the bench. Like, no, she knew something was up under there.
So she's literally definitely looking for an advantage while they are playing the challenge. So they start playing the challenge, whoop the whoop the whoop. And meanwhile, Drea is scratching her leg, looking for the advantage, and boom, she finds it. She sees that it says beware. She's like, let me put this in my pants. So she put it in her pants and she moves along. So now Drea now has another advantage on top of her already 3 that she has.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we'll put that in our pocket and we'll talk about that later. So we get to the challenge, and during the challenge, Jonathan is on the tribe, on the team, and there's a team where Jonathan's not on it. And basically, the team with Jonathan not on it is actually about to win the challenge. They are literally 1 ball away from winning the challenge, and Jonathan is like, you know what? Switch with me. They switch. Why did Jonathan get all 5 of the balls in?
Literally, the other team, Omar was shooting for the orange team in this situation. He had 4 balls and couldn't get the last one. Oh, Jonathan came from behind and boom, 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 didn't miss one. I don't know how many times he's going to have to prove to them that he needs to go because he's going to win everything.
Literally.
I mean, the guy, I guess he clearly can't win everything because Tori is winning everything, no shade. But it's like, this man is insane.
No,
he needs to go.
I don't know. Like, my first thought when he did that, I was like, he needs to go. So the fact that I don't know that they didn't think that, it shows like he's clearly good. Like, he's clearly in a good position because they do not even mention him this episode. And it's like, okay, I guess. I don't know. So Jonathan's team wins the reward. They go on the reward. Nothing really special happens at the reward from what I remember. So we ignore that. We move. We see Omar. We get an Omar scene. And we get an Omar, what's it called? Like a montage. And it's interesting because basically Omar is like, I'm in this 7-person majority alliance, but since I didn't have a vote last round, they don't know that I wasn't left out that vote. So the people in the minority are going to now believe that Omar is also in the minority with them. So Omar now has a good relationship with each person in the minority alongside being in this 7-person majority alliance. And he's saying that that is very beneficial to him because now he can work the entire tribe and get knowledge from literally everyone in the tribe. Or
Omar is literally a genius. Like, at the end of the day, if he ends up winning at the end of the season, it is going to be, I feel like, probably one of the greatest rises to victory we've probably ever seen. I mean, this man, you can tell he has been waiting to get on this island and play this game, and he is playing it hard. And the thing is, I always say this, like, why do people feel like they have to choose a side and stick with that side and can't talk to or work with anyone else? I love that his thing was like, I'm keeping my options open. I'm talking to everyone. I'm lying with everyone. And I feel like that's smart, especially so early in Merge. You can pin votes. You can kind of still claim your vote and things like that. I don't understand why people are shutting out their own allies. Meanwhile, Omar is making them with everyone. It's like, y'all giving the game to him at this point, but we moved.
It was very interesting. I really thought it was very interesting because he's not, he's a power player, but to the people on the tribe, he's not seen as a power player, I don't believe. And I feel like that's the best position to be in because, baby, who gonna vote him out? Like, oh my,
Great social game. So if he's able to finesse his way to that end, who's not voting him?
exactly. He's really giving it. I was impressed by Omar this episode. Somebody else I was impressed by, Drea. So we get to Drea finding or reading the advantage. So it's the beware advantage, which means she needs to be careful. So she reads the advantage and it says 5 paces from the water well, there's a coconut. In the coconut or wherever is going to be your advantage. So she goes 5 paces to the water well. She's looking, she's searching. She finds a coconut. So there's nothing inside the coconut, but underneath the coconut is a hole in the ground. And in that hole, it's a liquid, which she doesn't know what it is. So she reaches her hand in, deep all in there. She pulls out the advantage, and now her hand is covered in red paint. So she's like, okay, I immediately need to literally go and wash this red paint off. So she goes to the water well, gets the water well water, and starts washing the red paint off so she isn't getting caught, because that's the whole point of the beware advantage. You can get caught. So she washed most of the red paint off, but it wasn't fully washed off. So she reads the advantage, and it is knowledge is power advantage. Now, that advantage basically entails that if you are aware of someone else's idol or advantage and you ask them for it, then they have the ability, or they have to give you their advantage. If she correctly asks Marianne, let me have your idol, Marianne has to give her the idol. If she correctly asks Mike, let me have your idol, Mike has to give her the idol. So that's her advantage now. So Drea advantage count. Drea has an amulet, she has an idol, she has an extra vote, and she has a beware, or what the fuck is it called? A knowledge is power advantage. So this girl is advantaged up. She has whole advantages.
At the end of the day, y'all not seeing her. Like at this point, when Hai and Lindsay go home, because I feel like it's gonna happen eventually, she gonna have an idol. So she could potentially have 3 idols. When she still won, she got her own, and when the other 2 people go home. That is dangerous. And plus, she got an extra vote. Like, talk about women final idols in the new era. Like, this girl got 4 advantages stacked on y'all. Literally. And the thing is, I feel like if she uses them correctly, she can really get her way to the end. Like, for example, next week's 2 people have to win. We're assuming it's going to be 2 separate tribes. That's a situation where she could use that really in handy, So, Drea is something to look out for, like, for real.
Yes, she's doing really good. It's crazy that she has all these advantages. I've never seen somebody with literally all these damn advantages.
Most people who have these many advantages probably usually end up winning the game, or at least getting to that final 3.
So Drea comes back to the camp, and when she comes back to the camp, she sits down. She has her hands like this, and here go Tori.
Literally looking her down.
Looking her down. And so Tori is like, what's that? Are you bleeding? And Drea was like, no, I was painting the flag. I was painting.
No. Drea, I'm sorry, that was not no good ass lie. Drea, I feel like immediately I was like, girl, I'm bleeding, and just went.
Girl, I'm bleeding.
Why didn't you go straight to the ocean with the red paint? Because my thought process, there has to be some other pathway to the ocean without having to go in front of people. Why you go right at the water well and then come sit down with the goddamn advances right in your leggings? Like, literally. No thoughts. I think she was probably just exhilarated. Clearly, the exhilaration was rushing through her. But it's like, baby.
It's like I didn't like that. It was like, did you try, baby? But child, so Tori clocked basically. And so what Tori does is she has a diary room and she's like, okay, Drea is saying she was painting the flag. I look at the flag. There's not a single drop of paint on the flag. So clearly that's not what was happening. She's also over here scrunching her legs up. So Tori basically is like, this girl got something. She done clocked. So it's interesting because we see Tori go to Marianne, tell Marianne this information. So it's interesting because it's like, okay, Tori knew she was on the bottom. She clearly probably knows Marianne is also on the bottom with her. So if they are in some type of unification, even a little bit, it's going to be good for them. It's a positive. So it's interesting. She knew who to talk to. She knew who to tell that information to. So I'm checking for that. So finally, we get to the immunity challenge. At the immunity challenge, Jeff prefaces it with like, "Oh, we are going to have a what's it called when you fucking are deciding on an agreement? A negotiation about this rice. I'm going to give them this rice if we can negotiate an amount of people to sit out of this immunity challenge." He's saying that he's going to start off with 6, but he will settle for 4 and laugh. Moving along, we move. So we get to the negotiation. And at the negotiation, basically, he asked them, he says, "I can give y'all this rice if y'all sit out an amount of people. What y'all thinking?" So they're like, 2 people. Jeff was like, 2 people. 2 people. Jeff was like, 9.
Since y'all want to play. He said, since y'all want to play.
Since y'all want to play games. He said 9. This said,
non-negotiable. He was
non-negotiable. So they were like, it's funny because Omar was like 4 and I was like 3. And Omar was like, "Oh, okay, 3. So they were like 3. And Jeff was like, "Okay, look, how about 6? They was like 6. And he was like 6. And let me tell you why. If we do 6, it's because it's more than half the tribe and blue and
whatever.
So basically, they were like, "We can give 4." He was like, "Y'all can get 4? Do y'all have 4?
And they're like, "Well, who want to volunteer?"
Mm-hmm. They were like, "Who is okay with sending out?"
Lindsay. And at this point, me and Pharaoh is thinking like, okay, if anybody at the bottom sit out, they are dumb. Right. Marianne, Chanel, Tori or Romeo ain't got no business sitting out about this competition.
So Lindsay's like, "I'll sit out." I was like, "Okay, she could do that." Drea was like, "I'll sit out." I was like, "Okay, she could do that." Here go Marianne.
I'll sit out. Marianne. And okay, because I want to preface it by, saying clearly we were very much upset, but we forgot that Marianne is #that girl. So, Marianne, she's like, "I'll sit out." She'll sit out. And then the tribe kind of comes together like, okay, well, let's decide on the 4th person. We got 3. Let's decide on the 4. And they come together, and then Marianne just breaks down like, "Guys, please, I just feel like you guys are in a better position than me. And if one of you sit out, then it'll be fair because I don't want to sit out, but I'm doing it because I know we all need the food. And I just feel like one of you guys should get up your position." And just like that, Omar was like, "I'll sit out." Mm-hmm. And then Marianne has the diary room, and she's like, I'm a very emotional person, and I knew that I could, potentially get this done. So
I got it done.
For strategy, but essentially, period. So I was disappointed for her saying she would want to sit out, but essentially thinking about it, that was a hard ass challenge. If you know you're not going to win, and you can kind of use it for a strategic gain, then that's a good thing. And I think obviously it worked because we'll see later in the episode that her name is not mentioned at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was smart. I don't know. At first, I was like, "Girl, what are you doing?" But when she explained what the fuck she was doing, and her explaining that she was doing that shows that she knew what the fuck she was doing when she did it. So I really like that too.
But also, I have another fun point about that too, because I feel like when you're looking at the people who kind of got their main sections this episode, I feel like you're looking at Drea, you're looking at Mike, and Omar, and then you're also kind of looking at Marianne, because that was a very specific moment that showed her point of view in that situation that wasn't not necessary. I feel like it's interesting how they keep showing kind of Marianne's point of view on certain things, because we got a dialogue from her last episode saying, I'm making connections and things like that, and I'm bonding with people.
Got a montage from her.
She always has those moments of I feel alone and things like that. So it's like it's interesting because we always see her point of view. It's kind of been the same people. So that's something to look out for.
It is. So Omar sitting out, Marianne sitting out, Drea sitting out, Lindsay sitting out. Everybody else plays in the challenge. So Jeff starts the challenge. He's like, "Survivor's ready, everybody ready. Go, high drops."
The main one who needed the rice, because his ass is literally a vegan. Drop in 2 seconds.
Why you didn't sit your ass out?
You knew damn well. And then everyone else just started dropping like flies. None of y'all wanted to sit out, and almost all of them got out in the first minute.
Like, I respect a nigga who really wanna, I want to be safe. Like, I get it.
I came here to play.
I get it, but hi, You could have definitely just sat
Girl,
out.
hi, Mike. All them.
Mike, all of
All
them.
them. There's no reason. Like, Romeo is understandable. Roxroy is kind of understandable. Like,
Mhm.
hi, Mike. Y'all ain't got no. Y'all really should just shut out.
Yeah, I really
Marianne
should.
the thing is, Marianne shouldn't have had to stay. Like she said, she shouldn't even had to volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, you literally needed the rice. And you, like, it's crazy. The safest position, but whatever.
Girl, so they drop. And so essentially it gets down to Jonathan and Tori. The way I was like, damn, Jonathan, go ahead and drop because Tori's in a minority.
Mm-hmm.
If Tori doesn't win, Tori is essentially going to be voted out. This tribal. A lot of people don't like her. They aren't really working with her. So she's probably gonna go home had she not won this immunity. But we see her and Jonathan up there and they're struggling and and then Jonathan drops. And this is the second time Tori done beat Jonathan in a motherfucking individual immunity.
She's dangerous. Tori is insane. All right, y'all hate Tori. Look, but I'm sorry. Like, Jonathan win would have been terrible. Jonathan win at the end of these last 2 rounds would have been terrible because Tori would just went home. It would have been boring. Like, Chanel going home was still boring tonight because it was so, like, it was just the majority ganged up and voted together. But it's like, at least it was something different than what everyone is keep trying to say it's a status quo. Because Tori has been the target going into both of these last 2 episodes. So it's just interesting that she keeps winning immunity.
Yes. So after Tori wins, we go back to camp. And basically the majority alliance has decided we are going to vote out Chanel. And Romeo is going to get a few votes because Romeo is going to be the fake vote because just in case. So that's the plan.
And we kind of get that intro into it from Mike and High's perspective, basically essentially both saying that she wronged us, a lot of people on the table, but she has to be the first to go. I'm going to get into that later why I think that is not the correct decision, but that's where their head is going into this vote. Like, well, she fucked us over, so she has to go.
So they start telling Chanel that the vote is Romeo. And then we see, who is it talking to Romeo? I forgot.
It was Mike. You don't have to worry about anything. You're good tonight. Mike. That's interesting.
Okay. So Mike tells Romeo that he's good, but Romeo is really nervous. So Romeo is bouncing around the tribe damn near, like scared about the vote because he's like Chanel seems real calm. And Chanel being this calm is making me it's not making me feel good. I don't like that at all. So he starts to get worried, and word gets back to him. Tori tells someone.
Tori tell Rox. No, yeah. Tori tell Rox.
Rox told Tori.
Yeah. Shit.
Rox
told Tori that the people whose names are up is, I think he said Marianne, Romeo, and Chanel. And then Tori told Romeo that Rox told her that. And then Romeo told Omar. And then Omar told High. And then High, I don't know who High told. The whole fucking tribe know that Rox told Tori.
Once it gets to High is like, And I kind of saw it as an overreaction, but High was basically like, see, Romeo doing too much, we can just vote out Romeo. And it's like, you did all this energy to put on Chanel when the vote could have just been Romeo from the beginning. It would have been better for you anyways, you know? But basically he's like, oh, we can just vote Romeo now. So he's trying to, I guess, talk to the other people and get them to vote Romeo. And everyone is kind of agreeing, but then he talks to Mike. And he was like, Mike, we're just going to vote Romeo. Okay. And Mike was like, ooh, right. So to High's face, he's like, okay. But in the diary room, he's like, what is High doing? Like, look at High doing the most. So Mike goes and talks to Roxroy, and he's like, oh, the vote is this. I'm voting the same, by the way. And Roxroy was like, is the vote changing? And Mike was like, no. I'm just letting you know, we're voting Chanel. We're voting the same. Then he goes and talks to Jonathan. He's like, Jonathan, are we flipping up? Like, what's this? And Jonathan was like, I mean, I guess. And Mike was like, honestly, we should just vote Chanel. Like,
it's better for our game.
It's better for us to just vote Chanel. So basically, we go into tribal, and it seemed like Mike done reflipped the vote back to Chanel after High done flipped the vote off of Chanel. So basically, we're going into tribal, and it looks like Mike has decided that Chanel is going to go. And that's interesting because it shows that Mike has influence and he
Mike-
uses his influence, which I was not
well,
expecting.
and it also is kind of the second time in a row where it shows that High, who seemed like he was set up to be this dominant player, has kind of his agenda has not been pushed. You know,
Mhm.
I think these are two times like he wanted Chanel out originally, but the fact that he switches to Romeo and then could not get that to work, I think that's very telling.
It's very telling. So we ended off. Chanel gets voted out. It was pretty voting tribal.
It was.
And I think everybody was aware that she was going home. I don't think it was necessarily blindside, actually. So Chanel just goes home. Bye. So with that being said, going into next episode, we kind of see a hint of the boys might want to work together. Maybe the 7-person alliance will start to break up after this, which will be interesting. And we know the next episode is going to be 2 people voted out, probably 2 separate tribes like last season. So that's going to mix some stuff up. One whole tribe can just have everyone for the majority. Tori, Marianne, and Homeboy can be on the same tribe. Tori, Marianne, and Romeo can end up on the same tribe. Happens. And then what? So we don't really know what's going to happen next episode. So that's something to stay tuned for. Now we can get into these ratings. So first of all, let's get Chanel out of here. How do you feel? First of all, we had Chanel at the bottom last one. And she's still at the bottom. How do you feel about Chanel as a player overall?
I think I do have to give Chanel a 3 as a player overall. I think Chanel's biggest issue is her age. I think she needs to, I think if she was a little bit more older, she would be able to get into a position to where people could want to work with her. It just seems like she really doesn't have the social aspect of the game figured out. She made enemies on her original tribe really, really quickly, and that continued into Merge. Now, I don't think that's 100% on her. I think if there was a bigger tribe and things like that, maybe a tribe swap, something that happens in usual Survivor, she could have been able to finagle her way into something, but she was working in a situation where that wasn't the card she was dealt. I like Chanel because she's a thinker. She thinks of ideas, she thinks of strategy, and she knows her place in the game. She knew she was at the bottom, but she isn't able to make those social connections to make any of those plans actually work. Those plans mean nothing if you cannot make the social connections in the game. Personally, I think it was a very dumb decision for High and Mike to push her going home, and I'm going to reflect that in the scores tonight. No shade. But Drea did not help herself at all. I mean, not wanting to tell Omar that she literally caused him to lose his vote was just terrible gameplay. The getting High and Lydia to split their votes when you came back with no vote, that really ruined her game from the beginning. If she had just stayed with them and said, well, Jenny, baby, you gotta go, she would probably be one in the better positions of this merge, point blank, period. But hey, that's the color she was dealt, and that's how it ended. I do like Chanel a lot. Like, if there is some type of returning season that has I don't know. Second chance, Miss Chanel. Second chances. Come on, second chances. I think Chanel deserves a second chance because I do think she has the possibility to potentially win this game. I just think she needs that chance to get a better footing. A lot of people are not going to do well on these 8-person tribes. They're just not.
Yeah, 6-person tribe.
That's even worse. I didn't even think about that. 6 people.
Yeah,
that's nobody.
Yeah, I don't think. I think Chanel has a good game sense, and I like the way that she thinks about the game. And honestly, I don't necessarily think that it was bad for her. I just think she had a bad card dealt. I think she made one bad move. A lot of Survivor players make one bad move, and they can still, get around it because the tribe swaps or something different. This season just wasn't built for Chanel, and what had happened wasn't built for Chanel. That was very circumstantial. Not everybody gonna lose a vote randomly after getting sent to a random island on a random thing, So I feel like what happened to Chanel wasn't necessarily always going to happen in every season. So overall, I'm just going to give her a 4. I do think she has potential. I think if she had a different card dealt to her, she could have did good. And I think she has a ABC game since she knew that she was in trouble. She always knew her position. So that was good. And she knew she needed to do something. I think she did the best she could do this episode, because if she had did anything else, it would have been definitely Chanel. The fact that it did waver to Romeo is positive-ish for her, but it still didn't work out. I'll give her a 4. She made Merge. Congratulations, I guess. So yeah, that's how I feel about her. Now let's get into the people who are still in the game. So first, we're going to talk about Drea, Queen Drea. First of all, this girl, I really like Drea because Drea has freaking eight advantages, and she don't even care that she has 8 advantages. I think with Drea though, it's interesting because she did kind of cut Romeo off at the merge, and she explains this episode. She's like, "Hey, I cut Romeo off because he just got really paranoid for no damn reason." And it was interesting because I was like, "Ooh, if it was me, I want to keep all my numbers." So I wasn't like happy that she did that because Romeo would have been loyal to Drea to the end, even if he's paranoid. So I don't like that for her, but it does seem like she has at least a good relationship with High in this new structure. So at least she has something, and she still is cool with Roxroy from what I'm understanding. But I don't like that she cut off Romeo, and I don't like that she doesn't want to work with Tori, even though Tori doesn't work with her. I feel like she could have tried harder for something like that, and she didn't. Why did I just do that? And she didn't. So I don't like that. But overall, she still does have 4 advantages. I feel like she is smart enough to use them correctly to help her in this game. And I do think she's still in this majority alliance. And I don't see necessarily people targeting her anytime soon because she doesn't seem threatening. People know she has advantages, but she still doesn't seem threatening. And she seems socially good enough to get by. So I'm going to give her a 7.5. I am.
Mm-hmm. Now that's my thing with Drea. Like I was unsure about her score. I was thinking like I want to give her like an 8. It was between an 8 and a 7, just because I feel like Drea, she's playing a really good game. She has the advantages, which is really good for her. Mm-hmm. And I do think if those advantages are played right, she'll really be able to walk her way into that finality. And I think she has the ability to really express her game in a way to get to the end and win. It's just I'm getting a little wary of the lack of wanting to kind of control the numbers in the game. I think one of Omar's, biggest strength is that he has all 4 of his members of his tribe, still, and he essentially has the most influence because of that. Mm-hmm. Whereas Drea, yes, she has all of that power within herself, but she has really no one to extend that to. Romeo was a great, I feel like, ally for her on the Ica tribe. I'm not really sure. She explained why she doesn't want to work with him, but I guess they just weren't able to make it work. But I think that's a hindrance for her because, she has no one really to bounce those ideas off of. How do you know if you're using it right if you don't necessarily have those connections to be able to use it right? Mm-hmm. Like she hasn't, from what I can see, she's in this alliance, but she doesn't have really strong relationships. We haven't seen a montage of her building connections and making final twos. You know what I mean? We're mm-hmm. not seeing much of that, and mm-hmm. that scares me a lot because I don't think she's going to be targeted right now, but I think there's a chance that she could potentially get targeted in the future, especially if they find out about these advantages because, unless she goes the whole time without using them, which is also possible, they're going to find out after like the second one get used, like, okay, mm-hmm. this is a problem. And mm-hmm. my fear is that if she's cutting off Romeo, cutting off Tori, and her biggest ally is Roxroy is not a good ally. I mean, we see in the preview, he want to stick with the boys. Now, mm-hmm. Roxroy have been known to go snitch the Drea many a times, so that probably happens again, and that can switch up the entire game, but you never know. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to give her a 7.5 as well. Just because it's really, I'm iffy on her. I want to see her making really more social connections, like mm-hmm. talking more to Marianne. I think she should be talking to more to Tori. I think she should mm-hmm. not be dropping Romeo at all. Like, yeah, he may be paranoid. Maybe he could be acting weird, but it's very telling that as soon as he gets scared, he comes to you. You know mm-hmm. what I mean? I think that shows that if anything, he's going to be loyal to you. He's going to be a vote for you, and he can be a buffer in case someone needs to go home. I would never understand just kind of cutting off people who want to work with you. Like, he wants to work with you, and you're just like, well, that's fine. And I just feel like, she's good with Hyde, but would Hyde choose Mike over her? You never know. Mm-hmm. Would Hyde choose her over someone like Jonathan or someone weaker maybe that he can beat? Mm-hmm. Drea's a strong girl. She ain't gonna be easy to beat. I can't see people being like, I want to take her to final 3. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's where we did get a Drea montage last episode.
We did.
But we didn't get one this episode, and it did. I still don't like the Romeo thing. It's weird that she was cutting him off or whatever.
It just we got a progression, and I feel like we've seen a progression in a few people's game. We haven't seen that from her yet. Maybe that's just the edit. You know, the advantages are really good, but those advantages can't work if you don't, have those connections, and that's my concern. Because all I've seen this episode from her is shutting out people.
Exactly, the people she could work with. Exactly. What do you feel about Jonathan? He didn't get much this episode.
Jonathan's interesting. Like, for the most part, I feel like Jonathan is a man, and he deserves to be worshipped. Like, that man is insane. Like, have y'all seen his body? Like, it is given.
Mind you,
I just know Jeff is gonna bring his ass on here every single season after this. He's gonna be on Second Chances. He's gonna be on Heroes vs. Villains. He's gonna be on All Stars. He's gonna be on Hilda's Hustlers and whatever.
Heroes.
Like, they're gonna bring him back. He's gonna be
Brain John's and Beauty
show. He's gonna be back every single season. The thing I like about Jonathan is that he definitely has some strategic sense, but I think it is like 90% social, and that's very helpful for him. Like, he's connected to Mike, he's connected to Omar, he still has Lindsay, he still has Marianne, and he's in the Majority Alliance. Jonathan is in a pretty good position, I feel like, on surface level, but the issue with Jonathan is that he really is just a living, walking target. I mean, look at him, the way he beasted that reward today. I mean, it's not going to be too long before, like, I can't take this man to the end. Like, other than Omar, I don't think any of them would be smart to go to the end with Jonathan, because I also think he has the ability to win because everyone does like him. He's a pretty likable person, But my fear about him is that I don't think he has the strategic forethought to be able to really save himself if it comes to that. The good thing is he has now 2 people with influence protecting him, and then the Alliance with all the people with influence. So that helps him, but I'm not seeing much from him that he's doing. So I'm going to give him a 6, just because. Do I think he's going to be going home anytime soon? Honestly, I don't know. Because like I said, I think he's way too easily to become, he has to go. I mean, next tribal, we're going down, it's going to be split 5-5 most likely. If he doesn't win the immunity, there's a good chance he could go home. It's 5 people on the team, and one got to go. The biggest man there, why would we not vote him? The thing is, the last 2 tribals individual immunities have been between him and Tori. So if they're on separate tribes, I would assume each of them will win for their tribe. But if they're on the same tribe and she beats him again, let's say she was the only person in the minority on that tribe. Let's say it was her and 4 other people from the majority, and she wins. Who goes? Depending on who's on that 5, it could be him. So
this is my thing, though. Like, I see what you're saying, but I just feel like at this point, I feel like at this point, I can barely even say anymore that, oh, he's just going to be a target. He's going to be a target. Because at this point, I'm just going to keep saying it every episode, and they're not going to target him, because I thought they were going to target. They would have targeted him the first round. They didn't. I thought they would target him the second round. They didn't. And not only that, we keep seeing people randomly say how they want to work with him, which is interesting, but that's what's happening.
That's true.
I will say, like, if the tribe split, it's a possibility. But honestly, when I'm looking at these people, who's gonna vote for Jonathan? Because from what we know, Omar, Mike, Marianne, Lindsay, and Hai don't want to. So who gonna vote for him? Like, it does not seem like people want to vote for him, which is weird.
I do just think once that Majority Alliance starts to break up, he will be the first casualty, because I think he's the one you take out to draw the line in the sand. You know?
Yeah, I think he will eventually be targeted, and if he's not, they're just stupid. I really see him eventually being targeted, but right now it's not happening. So it's hard, because it's hard to see him get to the end, because no way they're gonna let Jonathan make it to top 6 or top 5 when he can just win everything. You know what I'm saying? So it is wary, but I still like the fact that people haven't even said his name this round, that people don't want him to go, and that he's a big ass target like this, and he's not seen as the vote yet. Even though they're in a big Majority Alliance, I feel like, why is he even invited into the Majority Alliance? He has to go. If it was me, he would have went week 1. Look who went. Lydia and Chanel went home. What? Why are Lydia and Chanel out when Jonathan is sitting right here? So I don't know. I kind of like it. Like, I'm kind of liking the path for him, because every round he stays is a round where all he has to do is win immunity, and he can get to final 3, because it's the final 3. It's only 10 people left, if it's a final 3, it's 10 people. That's 7 rounds he has to get. If he
2
wins
people going
3,
home next episode.
literally. So it's like it's we gonna see. I'm gonna give him a 7 because I do think he's playing well as of now. Based on this episode, he didn't do anything wrong. Taku still has the majority. If Taku ever decides we just gonna go Taku strong, then what? He can't go nowhere at all. Where you going? You leaving? So the next person is Hai. When it comes to Hai, I didn't necessarily agree with how Hai approached this episode. I kind of feel like Hai was, I don't know. I feel like the fact that Hai cut off Chanel when he got to the merge was not the best thing because everything we saw from Chanel, including diary rooms, including her conversations within the game, it showed us that Chanel wanted to work with Hai. So Chanel wanting to work with Hai and Hai wanting to just cut her off was very weird for me. Mike did the same thing, and I understand that tribal happened, but honestly, like every other situation where someone is on the minority of a tribe, it doesn't matter. When you go into merge, you need to stay strong with your tribe. Not only did Hai let Chanel go, he let Lydia go, who is his number 1. So Hai just letting everybody go left and right. I don't like that for his game. I will say it does still seem like Hai has some type of influence over this majority alliance. He does still have a connection to Drea from what it seems. But honestly, other than that, you done let Chanel go. You done let Lydia go. Sure, he has Mike. He has Drea, and we see him have conversation with Romeo, but he was ready to vote Romeo this round. So I can't be confident that he's going to know how to keep the numbers. Survivors is a numbers game before anything else. So the fact that Hai is letting his numbers go, I really, really don't like that. He is in the majority alliance. He does seem to have a slight amount of influence. He does seem to have like maybe an ally with Mike, maybe an ally with Drea. But other than that, babe, Taku 4 is still all here and they're still all together and you don't even care about that. I don't think Hai has done, I don't like Hai's position. I don't like what Hai has done, honestly. I'm going to give Hai a 5 because that's what it's given.
Yeah. I, as well, was just very, very disappointed in Hai. I think one of the big things I noticed about Hai this episode is that he's an emotional player. I think he definitely just goes based off of emotion. It seemed like at first targeting Chanel could have been strategic, but I just think at this moment, getting out Chanel was not the move for him. Chanel is not the biggest target for him in the game. And I'll say this now, I'm going to be a little bit higher on Mike than I am on Hai because the difference between Mike and Hai is that I think Mike took out a number that could have been his, but also try to build on that. I think the only thing Hai is resting on is that he's in the majority alliance. Because at this point, who is his closest ally? He doesn't have that deep of a connection with Drea, nor does he have one with Roxroy. Omar has all 4 of his people locked up. So, like, who do you really have? Mike, you have Mike, but Mike got his own shit going on. As you can see, Mike has not included Romeo, Hai in any of the things he's been doing this episode. And I think that's very telling. It went from, we have to get out Chanel because she wronged us something that happened, 10 days ago at this point? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it may seem silly because she did turn on you, but it's like, you don't always have to get out the person that turned on you. You don't even know Tori. What she say? You don't even know Marianne. Like, I don't understand. Literally. You have no connection with her either. So, if Hai's plan, and that's what it looks like, is to just be trustful in this 7-person alliance and think he's going to get to the end like that, that's not going to happen. Because if they do get to 7 as 7, he will have the least social connections there, in my opinion. Because I don't think anyone necessarily chooses him over them. And I do think his, like the way he was like, well, now we have to change it. No one really wants to work with a person like that. I think that's why Mike kind of coming back around being like, okay, are we still sticking with the plan? People like that stability. The fact that he was able to waver so quickly and the fact that it shows that I feel like the fact that he wanted Romeo out and he did not go, I think it shows a lot.
I agree.
I'm going to give him a 5.5. Because I'm not all the way down on Hai. I do think we're seeing a lot of bad from him, but I feel like if he's in danger, Mike is a scrappy player. He still is one of the amulet holders. You know what I mean? Which is a really good thing. And being in the alliance gives him a chance to still build upon that. Most likely the winner is going to come from this alliance, and this, he's already on a good path. So it's like, I do think this is a chance for him, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing at all.
Yeah, I kind of agree. How do you feel about Lindsay?
We're not getting much from Lindsay at all. Like, it's giving Purple Kelly edit. No,
It might be giving Erica edit. I don't know.
And the thing is, if this is the second bad, is this the second bad edit?
Get it out.
If this is the second bad edit winner in a row, then Jeff and CBS Survivor, y'all need to talk about your production, because even if it's not, it's gonna look hella misogynistic. Because why are the last 2 men in a row being edited like this? Come on now. Now, I hope Lindsay don't win. No shade. But I'm going to need to see more from her. In the preview, we see, she may be getting to it with Jonathan. That could be interesting. But I don't know if they're really going to go anywhere, especially because they're showing it in the damn preview. I can't really say shit about her. I'm going to keep her at a 6. She's in a good position. No one's going to come for her at all. I mean, everybody named Mama is targeting her over her at this point. So that's the thing. She might win it. Damn, her ass might win. That's sad, though. Like, if she's going to win, I would like to see more of her. Like, let's not do that Survivor. Like, twice in a row, that's going to look suspicious as hell.
I don't think she win based on this edit. I really don't think she could win. But I do like Lindsay's game. I feel like, they're not explaining it, and she doesn't get any diary room. She barely gets any of the edit. But every time I do see her, the sprinkle that we get, it shows me, or I feel like she has like a intelligence about her. I really do think so. So I do like that. I also like the fact that she is laying low. I feel like no one else is laying low. And in Survivor, you do have to have a resume, but she can build that resume rounds from now. It's still 10 people in the damn game. If she's in a good position and she can just sit there and shut up, she does still have an amulet, so she has something to hold her, with. And she is in a good position. If she could just shut the fuck up and then start making moves later in the game, that could be a really good winning path. So I actually do like what she's doing in the game, honestly. Even though she's irrelevant, I like it. And I actually have a little bit of hope for it. I kind of see the edit as maybe she won't win, but honestly, maybe she will, because Erica just won with a simpler edit. So honestly, I'm gonna give Lindsay a 6.5. I'm gonna give a 6.5. I like it. I like Lindsay. Like, I wish they showed her more, or just her ideas more. It's less people in the game. We can show her now. Say something. Right. The next person is my girl Maryanne. Period. I love Maryanne. I love that she gets her little moments. It's interesting because she, like Lee said earlier, she does get her moments. Seems like these last couple of episodes, damn near every episode that she gets her moments. So this episode with the sitting out, and we had a confessional for her saying that she's using her emotional side as a way of manipulation. And then as we see when it gets to the vote, even though she's in the minority, she was never ever considered to be the vote this round. So I really, really like that. It shows that clearly she's doing something right. Other than that, it's looking bad for her because she is in this minority position. But one thing about Survivor is that this alliance isn't going to stick for too damn long, especially because next episode it's going to be a split tribal thing. So it may not last for that long, or maybe next episode, Tori and Romeo go home. And then after that, if it's just Maryanne left, they probably aren't going to be like, let's just take Maryanne out. I don't know about that. I can see Maryanne sneaking her way to the end, especially if she can get a good idol play or something. Taku is all still here. I feel like they are the most loyal to their tribe. So I don't think Omar is just going to let Maryanne go for a minute. It might be 4 or 5 rounds before Omar's like, Maryanne could go. And at that point, it's going to be in the end game. So I see hope for Maryanne, but she still is in that, lesser position in the tribe. But honestly, I'm going to give her a 4. Give her a 4 because she has to do something. We're not there yet for her.
So I love Maryanne. Like, literally every week I see Maryanne on my screen. Like, I just love it. Like, seeing her story, seeing her journey in this game, because as someone, I just feel like I can relate to Maryanne on so many levels. And it's like she's out there, she's living her dream. She's playing Survivor, and she's still in the game with an idol and her extra vote. Top 10, period. You know what I mean? So it's just like I do see a path for her. I do not think it's a coincidence that we keep getting these moments showing her social connection with people on the tribe and how she does have that strategic forethought going into things. I mean, I just feel like that confessional of her, saying basically how she used her emotionally manipulative skills to get someone to sit out of the comp. And she didn't even go home this episode. I just think it shows that she made a strategic decision, and it definitely worked out. So I'm giving Maryanne a 5. Like Cheryl said, I do think she's probably going to be one of the last people on the outs to stay in the game, and I do not think Omar is going to let her go. I don't think Lindsay or Jonathan are going to let her go, because why let her go when you don't really know Rox, you don't know Drea, you don't know Hai, you don't really know Mike, and they can win. I mean, the perception at this point is that you can beat Maryanne. So why you not Maryanne, who has an idol that's going to be played to help you? Like, it will make no sense when you turn on Maryanne. Like, unlike Hai, Mike, and Drea, Omar likes to keep his allies. So I do not see him turning on Maryanne at all. Even if they get down to 8 and she's the last one out of that 7, I honestly can see all 4 of them being like, well, time's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Drea and them looking like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah, because you kept your people. So I'm going to give my sister that 5. I think she deserves it. I think that, like you said, they're at the path for to sneak through. And I honestly think she just has that story that you want to see succeed. Like, I can see her sitting in the final 3 and really giving her story and telling them how she has always wanted to be here and things like that. And then snatching that $1 million check, and I will not be bad about it.
Sure. How you feeling about Mike?
We got a lot from Mike this episode. Like I said earlier in the podcast, like, Mike has definitely lapped Hai when it comes to strategic forethought. I mean, we saw it in the beginning of Merge, and I think they showed that on purpose. His conversation with Jonathan, we saw more extension of that bond this episode. Essentially, you saw Hai and Mike tell Jonathan 2 different things, and it's very clear which one Jonathan and the rest of the tribe went with. Mike's, has showed that clearly he is able to change minds on that tribe, or not necessarily change minds, but definitely keep what he wants to happen. I am a little bit down on him because he did get Chanel out. The whole, she'll always be a snake in my eyes. I mean, okay, girl, but like, you can still see why she made the move she made. Like, it's not like she was intentionally trying to set you up. Like, it was a lot going on, and she wanted Lydia or Hai to go. Hai just got her caught up. So it's just like that. I don't think that was necessarily the best move, but like I said, he made the move, and then he also made moves that will set him up better in the future, which I feel like Hai didn't necessarily do. So I think I want to give Mike a 7. I think Mike is definitely moving into the power player position. He does not seem that threatening. I feel like if I'm looking at the game board, I wouldn't come after Mike too soon. Yeah, he has an idol, but with everything being so out in the open, how threatening is that? I mean, all 3 idols that everyone knows about is I mean, 2 of them are in the Majority Alliance, and no one has even mentioned it. So clearly, that's not the biggest thing on the tribe right now. So I think, it's a reason why they keep showing him. Like Mike honestly could win this game. Like, it's kind of getting winner edit.
I agree. I think Mike is giving winner edit, and I think he's playing well. I think he's deserving the edit he's getting, because just this episode, alongside his Jonathan relationship, we see Omar talking about I like Mike. Yeah, I want to stick with Mike. We know him and Hai have a relationship of some sort. We know Mike and Drea have talked about working together because they have idols that could extend to Maryanne later in the season. We don't know yet, but he has these really good relationships. And honestly, he let Chanel go, but at this point, every time we saw Chanel talk to someone, it was to Hai and not to Mike. So maybe Chanel wasn't even trying to work with Mike like that. I feel like I'm more mad at Hai than Mike about that, because Chanel kept coming to Hai. Hai, what's the vote? Hai, what are we doing? Hai, da da da. Chanel doesn't seem like according to the edit, it didn't seem like she had much interest in Mike anyway. So that might have not even been that bad for him. I could see Chanel later in the season if she stayed being like, oh, we can get out Mike. So maybe it wasn't that bad. I like his path. I like his options. I do feel like if honestly, the way they're editing it, if Jonathan were to ever turn on Taku, it would be to help Mike. I do think so. Ooh. I think they would stay strong for as long as possible, but I feel like Mike is one of the only people who can infiltrate that. I don't think Hai or Drea has that influence right now. I really don't. But I think Jonathan's relationship with Mike might be one of the strongest relationships in the game, and that could be very important when it comes down to the end of the game. I really like Mike's position. I think it's giving winner at it low key. But there's still like he's very simple with his strategy.
ABC Survivor.
Yeah, but I like that he went out of his way to get what he wanted. A lot of people the way I perceived Mike, I perceived him as someone who wouldn't have tried when he heard something. But what he did was he was like, I'm not doing that, and I'm also going to tell other people that we're not doing that, and we're not going to do that. So that was very interesting, and that really made me like him a lot more. And his social game is so good, and he's not the biggest threat, and I don't think he's ever really going to be seen as the biggest threat unless a lot of people go home, which is really good. It's giving he could win, so I'm gonna give him a 7.5. Honestly, 7.5. The next person is Omer. Omer is that girl. Hashtag that girl.
Period.
Omer really be eating the girls up. I love first of all, last episode, Omer's goal is the goal that happened, which was to get out Lydia. This episode, Omer didn't lose a number. Marianne is supposed to be grouped in with those people, and the way that she's not even grouped in, he had a diary room. He's like, or no, he had a scene where he's talking to Marianne. He's like, hey, I know information, so don't ever use your idol until I give you the go-to to use your idol, by the way. They show him talking to Tori. He has a good relationship with Tori. They show him talking to Romeo. He has a good relationship with Romeo. It's like, damn, he even talked to Chanel, but she went home. He had good relationships with everyone outside of the Big Alliance. And then he has great relationships within the Big Alliance because him and Mike do have a new relationship that's blooming. He has a good relationship with Jonathan. And we can assume that him and Hai have some sort of relationship. Him and Dre have some sort of relationship because when it comes to his influence, we see that his influence is the one that happened. Like last episode, Hai was like, "Oh, I don't want Lydia to go home," but he voted Lydia, and that was Omar's idea. So we know he has influence. We know he's in a good position. So I really love that. I also think that he's not a threat. He's not seen as a threat. And that's really good. I think he can really make it to the end of the game. And if he makes it to the end of the game, I think he can win the game. So I'm going to give him an 8. You know what? I'm going to give him a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a 9.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, I'm also going to keep him at that 9 from last week. I think he really ate up this episode. Like, the main thing he said from this episode is to keep your eyes open, which I feel like is always the best thing to do in this type of show. Like, at the end of the day, it's a social connections game. No matter how much strategic mindset you have and how many ideas and plans you can think of, or how many advantages you have, if you don't have the connections, none of that shit matters at all. Yeah. The fact that Omar has a connection with every single person on this tribe is beautiful. I mean, going into a situation like next week where 5 people on each tribe with a crazy twist like that, Omar is probably the most safest person going into that. I don't think he's going to get touched at all. And then, like you said, he's not seen as someone who is a big threat. So I feel like when you're working towards the end of the game, no one's going to necessarily be like, he needs to go, especially when you have Marianne that you know has an idol. When you have Jonathan, who's this beast, you know what I mean? Drea has 4 advantages at this point. You know, it's like there are a lot of other things happening that Jonathan is not, he doesn't have, but he has influence over. And I feel like that's the best position to be in because once you get to the end, he can just list off all of the things that he made happen without even having them himself. You know what I mean? I do think, you know, we already mentioned this, like the fact that he's someone who's keeping his tribal numbers together, that is the smartest thing in the situation. Meanwhile, Ika and Olvati are just picking at each other. So he's definitely the best other person in this game. The thing is, I don't know if it's giving winner edit. I don't know because like it's like they're showing him a lot, but you know, Shan was the head strategist of her season last season, and they showed her a lot, and she lost. The thing about Omar is that I don't see anyone ever really wanting to target him. I really don't. I think he has great social bonds, and if he's able to get to the end, no ifs, ands, but he's winning the game.
Exactly. I agree. I think he's in a really good position, and I'm excited to see where he goes from now. The next person is Rocksroy. How do you feel about Rocksroy?
Rocksroy, we didn't get shit from Rocksroy this episode. Like all we saw was that Rocksroy Tori from Tori perspective that the people on the outside was on the top of the block. And we also got confirmation that he's the one in the majority alliance and not Romeo. So I'm gonna give him a 5 based on that alone. He's in the alliance. I still don't think Rocksroy is someone who has the, you know, mindset to be able to really propel himself further. Now we did see in the next episode that him, Jonathan, and with Mike talking about a boys thing, the boys sticking together. I don't know how realistic that's going to be. If you ask me, I don't think it's actually going to happen. Because Rocks, like I said, have been known to go tell Drea. I think his number one ally is Drea. At least it should be. There's no way he getting to the end if it's not. Well, he honestly might, because I think he's a perfect GOAT. I will have to start seeing a lot more from Rockswood to probably give him a 5 at any point. I mean, more than a 5 at any point after this, because we're just not seeing anything. And what we have seen has been very, very disappointing.
Yeah. Rocksword has given nothing. He hit the hourglass and that was it. I'm gonna give him a 4 because I don't even think at this point he can win. Nothing has shown me that he has the ability to gain respect from this jury. There are so many people here. There's not a combination of 2 people that I feel like he can make it to the end with and win. And if you can't even win, I feel like I can't even give you a 5. So it's gonna be a 4. We are gonna see next episode. There is like a hint that he might be involved in something. So we'll see how that progresses. But as of now, it hasn't progressed yet. So you're getting a 4 for me, to be honest. I feel like he has a path to Final 3, but I don't think he has a path to win the game as of now. Maybe that'll change, but maybe it won't. Next is Romeo. They basically said, we don't want to fuck with Romeo because Romeo be paranoid as hell. Drea cut him off. His closest ally cutting him off is not good. I don't know how that happened, but the fact that it happened isn't good. We haven't seen that he has a connection with Rocksroy or Tori, and it's like, that sucks too. Like, we haven't seen him doing anything positive. He was damn near going home this episode, so it's bad for him. It really is. He's going to have to do a lot to, I feel like, make it to the end or even get in a good position or anything. Because it doesn't seem like anyone cares about him. One relationship I thought he had could have been High, but as you see, High don't give a shit about keeping his numbers. Because he wanted Romeo out, he got Chanel out, and he got Lydia out. High don't care about numbers. So Romeo doesn't have anything really. Like, it's really bad for him. And he also hasn't shown that he's savvy enough. He has a strategic mind, but he's not savvy enough at all. He can't get nothing done, baby. It's gonna have to be a 2. A 2.
I mean, such a fall from grace for Romeo. Like, we were putting him in the top dog, power player, best player in the game position, damn near almost. And it's just crazy to see how all that got swept from under him. I mean, in the last podcast, we didn't even mention that he was not in the alliance because we just assumed, of course, Romeo's in it. No. Like, this man was so paranoid and so all over the place that his closest ally, like you just said, don't even want to work with him. That's bad. And, like, I can get on Drea for not wanting to, but what have you been doing? The fact that she wanted to use Rocksword over you. I don't want to be too low on Romeo, so I do think I'm going to give him a 3 because I don't think
the generous queen.
He's not all the way not there strategically. Like, you know, I do think he still has the ability to make connections. I think he has the ability to still make moves. He's someone, if he can get his hold on to, like, maybe an advantage, but they're so weird about advantages now, so that probably doesn't happen. He can make something happen. I don't know. I don't think that he's necessarily going to be going home next. If he does, then it's like, well. But he's someone that I think has the ability to be able to get himself out of this position. I'm not gonna lie. I think he honestly could. It's just gonna be a really, really uphill battle. Like, I don't get, he's so paranoid. Like, it's like people are not gonna want to work with someone like that. They're just not. Like, at this point, it's bad for Romeo. It's so bad for Romeo. Like, yeah.
Honestly, I think the difference between Romeo and Tori is kind of that I don't see people necessarily not ever wanting to work with Tori. Sure, Drea doesn't like Tori, but we haven't really got a confessional from anybody else saying they don't like Tori, which I find interesting because it might not be too bad for her, but I don't know. What you feel about Tori?
I hate to say it, but I love Tori. Survivor Tori, disclaimer. So I don't know what you do out in them streets. But on this season, Survivor 42, Tori's that girl. I'm sorry. This bitch didn't want 2 individuals. I can't even talk. This bitch won 2 individual immunities in a row against one of the biggest niggas I've ever seen on Survivor. I'm sorry, you kind of have to put respect on Tori's name. Just the taint. I'm not saying stand her. Like, definitely don't give her the whole stand card, but you can definitely acknowledge when the bitch did her thing. I mean, you got to give her a 10 from the 10 to do. So we haven't. The thing is, like, I'm gonna keep at the 3.5 from last week because there hasn't really been an improvement or decline in her game. She had immunity last week. She had immunity this week. People couldn't target her last week because of it. People couldn't target her this week because of it. Like you mentioned, not everyone is saying they hate Tori. Only people who really are saying that is Roxroy. And I mean, no one really said it this episode. I mean, she was damn near safe because of it. But still, now it's Tori is walking in some dangerous water come next week because if that's how the tribe breakdown happens, if she does not win immunity, Tori is almost definitely going home unless she end up on a tribe where it gotta be her, Maryanne, and Romeo. Now I want to be in that timeline, but Maryanne probably still even flip with them because I do think she would be loyal to Taku strong. So she unfortunately for Tori, I just don't think there's any way she can really win this game. She's going to be playing from the booty hole bottom of this tribe. If she makes it to the end, it's to be the GOAT and a GOAT only. It gives me Angelina. It gives me very much a Survivor, David versus Goliath. Not as, no shade, annoying, but very much like she's in your face. She wants to play, but no one really wants to play with her. And it's like her game isn't bad, but no one respects her enough to care about anything she's doing.
I don't know. I kind of disagree.
Really?
I kind of feel like it's giving. I think with Tori, I see a glimmer of hope. I like that we haven't gotten much comments about not wanting to work with her because, especially coming this next episode when the tribes are split, I see people wanting to work with her. For example, this episode when Tori did tell that information, who told her that information? Roxroy. Like. He doesn't like her,
and
but
she mentioned she wanted to work on their relationship, so I guess she has been.
Literally, like he told her that information, and not only that, she had a good conversation with Maryanne, spilling that information. So it shows that there are people who might still tell Tori things, and if Tori is still getting told, she said the names I heard were Romeo's, Maryanne's, and who the other boy, and Chanel, who got voted out, and it's like if Tori got the names, I mean.
That's true.
I mean, she got the names, including Romeo. It's funny because Romeo didn't get Romeo's name. It didn't seem like Maryanne got Romeo's name, but Tori got Romeo's name through Roxroy, who's all over the place. But the fact that she's getting some information, it kind of makes me happy. Also, like, I don't know. It seems like she has a glimmer of hope. I don't see that glimmer with Romeo, and I didn't see it with Chanel. I actually do see a glimmer of hope with Romeo, but I see people wanting to work with Tori. With Romeo, it doesn't seem like people want to work with him. It seems like he can slither his way past. With Tori, I can see a world where Omar's like, okay, well, we're finna flip on these people. I can get Tori and then use Tori as a number. I can see someone wanting to use Tori as a number to switch the game around. I really see that as a possibility. So I kind of have a glimmer of hope, but she's still at the booty hole bottom. The only reason she didn't go home is because she won immunity. But the fact that she can win immunities is really, really good because it gives her days to socialize. Now she's had these 3 tribals. She doesn't have to worry about going home. She can focus on socializing, trying to get these bonds. So I'm going to give her a 4. I actually have hope for her. I can see her winning the game in a weird world. I said it. Here first, ladies.
Now you're just talking.
I'm just talking.
Walking.
But I said what I said, and I meant it.
Ooh,
No, I really could see her winning the game. It might sound crazy.
Okay, sister.
Call me crazy.
And this is crazy.
Okay, this is the order.
Okay. Accurate down once again.
Mike Dunn went up.
Deserved. Heidi went down. Deserved. Maryanne went up. Deserved. Well, her and Roxroy are technically switched. Well,
no, they're technically in the same place. It's just Chanel went home. Oh, yeah. Well, they technically went up because Chanel at the bottom. Like, I mean, she still was. Romeo just went down. Romeo went down. Yeah. We only had him that high because we thought he was in the 8, and he wasn't in the 8. So
yeah, he probably would have been a 5. We were for sure.
He shouldn't have been that high, honestly. Okay, this is looking real cute. According to this, Omar is finna win a game, and I'm okay with that. According to this, the final 3 is finna be Drea, Omar, and Mike, and I'm okay with that. So we will see how that goes. Super. What else we got? Our draft picks.
I'm drafting Giannis.
Oh my god. I actually don't want to
Ooh,
show y'all.
it's bad for Elmo.
Here are the drafts.
How many rounds has it been? And I haven't left. Like, literally, because that's the thing. John, what's his name? Jackson was not even voted out. The only
You have
person
lost
who's
one
been voted
person
out has
technically.
been Swati.
And that's it. Why has every single one of my people got voted out? And Romeo next.
At this point, your only hope is Omar. Bitch, I'm beating
My
you.
only hope is Omar. I honestly, I don't think Hai's gonna win, but I guess Hai could win. He got an edit. He has a winner's edit.
He still got a chance, honestly.
And honestly, Romeo, I lost. But I will say, if I had to choose a winner and it was a test and it was like who won the game, I would probably either choose Omar or Mike. So maybe I still have a chance. Maybe Omar can make it to the final three. But you would just have everyone else.
But it's like the odds at this point are bad.
Hopefully it is a boys alliance and all 6 of the boys just vote together because God, that would be great for me. I would hope that would happen. God, I don't see Rocksroy winning, but honestly, anybody else on your tribe, if they make it to final three, I think they can win.
Yeah.
I think anyone could win this game, but Rocksroy.
Yeah, it's still very open. Like at the end of the day, like that 7-person alliance is not going to last. I do think even if it did last, that would be first of all a very iconic top 7, and then still anyone could win because I do think at that point, if they would all make it 7 together, I don't think that at that point Taku would necessarily stay together because it's like it's 7. We gotta do. Yeah, like people trying to win at that point, you know. So we're gonna see. We're definitely gonna see. I do think if anything, I can see Romeo and Tori going, but I don't think Marianne is just gonna go that easily. I don't think that's gonna happen, and I think that could be the vote to switch it, or it could get switched next week with them, both going because that's the thing. Romeo and Tori can essentially go next week. If they don't, that's the thing. 2 of Marianne, Tori, and Romeo should be going next week. If they don't, then something that 7-person alliance is over. No matter what, one of these 3 should be going. If not, that 7-person alliance is over. So it's very telling. Very telling.
So next episode is gonna be very interesting. I'm excited. I don't think the 7-person alliance is gonna stay together. I actually don't. So that's going to be very interesting. Any final thoughts? How you feeling about the season so far? It's a great season.
I love it. I mean, this episode was pretty mid, but I don't want to base this episode on the entire season. I will say I've just been binging a lot of Survivor recently. So when I say marriage purposes, a little bit of a slow start. I kind of want them to pick it up a bit, like this safety. If we're in this alliance, it's great, it's good. And I think what makes it so worse is that this is a cross-tribal alliance, and you have one tribe with 3 people in it, and no one else seems to care about it. It's just I don't know. You still have to be thinking about all angles, and I don't think specifically Hai. I don't know about Drea are really considering the fact that their agency is there, but it could slip. If Omar decides to slip on y'all tomorrow, he could do it point blank.
Yeah, that's the number.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
That's not good at all. They could literally take the number after next week. Let's say no Taku go home. It's top what? 8.
8.
That's the number.
They have the numbers. That could easily be like Marianne player idol. Boom, done. They can run it up to 4.
And they can run it up to 4 just like that.
He'll know what they're voting. He'll know who they're voting. As long as they're not doing their own thing, which I mean, who knows at that point? Maybe they will be trying to do it, but they have 4 people. So it's
4
like
a lot at
and
8.
they have made it seem like they don't trust Marianne. All they have to be is like, who we voting? Marianne, play your idol.
Play your idol. And move along.
And use your extra vote. We can play the idol and use extra vote.
And it's kind of been hinted at that Omar might tell Marianne.
They can use the extra vote. Just peek that.
They don't gotta use the idol. They could literally just at 8 use the extra vote and move along. Or next episode when it's split up, if Omar and Marianne are on the same tribe, he can be like, ooh.
I didn't even think about that. What if Omar and Marianne aren't on the same tribe and
with the majority alliance? It's majority alliance and Marianne. Technically vote Marianne, but Omar's just gonna be like, and then it's over. And then whoever Omar and Marianne vote,
like, all he gotta do is like, girl, play the idol.
And whoever they vote goes home. So with that being said, shit, Drea could go home next episode. It's
Next
looking.
episode I think gonna be good. Next episode gonna be a good episode.
It's looking very interesting. I'm excited to cover the rest of the season. Tune in next week after the episode. We will be live talking about the episode and doing our player ratings just like today. Check out the rest of our podcast where we talk about Big Brother and other reality TV shows or whatever. And follow us at T Reality Kingdom down below on Twitter and on Instagram or whatever. And thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.